Hey there, Scott on Two Wheels here. So today I got the weather. I'm gonna go take a ride out to this area called Love Canal, just shy of Niagara Falls, New York. It's infamous for a location landfill that became the site of an environmental disaster discovered in '77. Decades of dumping toxic chemicals killed residents and harmed the health of hundreds, often profoundly. The area was cleaned up over 21 years in a Superfund operation. So this land was purchased by William T. Love, who was a former railroad lawyer back in 1890. His plans were a urban community of parks and residents on the shore of Lake Ontario. In 1892, his plans to incorporate a shipping lane that would bypass Niagara Falls and facilitate transportation between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. But he began the canal in '94, and steel companies and other manufacturers expressed interest in opening plants along Love Canal. But then the panic of 1893 caused investors to end sponsorship of the project. And in 1906, environmental groups successfully lobbied Congress to pass a law designed to preserve Niagara Falls, prohibiting the removal of water from the Niagara River. They only built a mile of the canal before funding ran out, and I think it's roughly 15 acres. This is all off of Wikipedia, so you can look it up. Then in '40, Hooker Chemical Company bought it and used it as a dump site, and then they sold it to the Niagara County Department of Education for $1, and they built this neighborhood and a school. In '77, a harsh winter storm dumped 33 to 45 inches of snow, significantly raising the water table. The excess water got into the groundwater and raised the elevation of contaminants, including dioxin. During the spring of '77, the State Department of Health and Environmental Conservation began an intensive air, soil, and groundwater sampling and analysis program after identification of a number of organic compounds in the basements of 11 homes adjacent to Love Canal. It was revealed that the standards at the time did not require the installation of a liner to prevent leaching. This became very common among companies. Construction of the 93rd Street School and the 99th Street School from 52 to 55. When Hooker sold the property to Niagara County Board of Education for $1, there was a disclaimer. So, despite the disclaimer, the board began construction on the 99th Street School in its originally intended location. In January '54, the school's architect wrote to the Education Committee informing them that during excavation, workers discovered 2 dump sites filled with 55 US gallon drums containing chemical waste. The architect also noted it would be in poor policy to build in that area since it was not known what wastes were present in the ground. The school board then relocated the school site 80 to 85 feet further north. The kindergarten playground also had to be relocated because it was directly on top of the chemical dump. Upon completion in '55, 400 children attended the school, and it opened along with several other schools that had been built to accommodate students. That same year, a 25-foot area crumbled, exposing toxic chemical drums, which then filled with water during rainstorms. This created large puddles that children enjoyed playing in. In '55, a second school, the 93rd Street School, was opened 6 blocks away. I caught a documentary on YouTube TV months ago that I really found fascinating, and this is why I'm gonna go take a ride out there and see what I can see. I don't know how close I can get to it, if I can ride through it or not, but anyway, I'm gonna take a ride out there, see what I can see.
It looks like I'm gonna get rain here soon. Somebody did a news story on it, and they just started to investigate the issues, and you know, the kids were playing in puddles of carcinogens, and there was all kinds of birth defects, blood diseases, you know, people were dying. So this is like the top end of it. Yeah, so it was in this fenced-in area right here. Apparently there used to be still part of the canal there. There used to be a road there. Sidewalks and no houses. 95th. So this is it right here. It's all private property now. I don't know who owns it. Probably the county. Yeah, it was like, this is 95th, and then there was 90, you went into 97, and then there was 102. But see, like that was a road that went back into housing. There's another road that was there. Another one that was here. There's roads right here. But I just found it very fascinating that these neighborhoods were here. And then, look, there was a fire hydrant there. So the story was that the state bought the houses from the people at fair market value, and then the whole neighborhood was torn down. You know, that they had, when there was heavy rains, people's basements were flooding, and all this chemical waste was seeping into people's basements and stuff. I mean, it was a real mess. I'll put the link for the YouTube documentary that I saw in the description of this video. But I just thought I'd come out and do a little video. I just found it interesting, and it's right in my backyard. So I just wanted to come check it out, see what it's all about. But the documentary was interesting, really interesting. But anyway, all right. Peace. It's a complete bird sanctuary now. I mean, it's unbelievable that back in the 70s, you know, this was a planned community. Schools here, I can't, I don't have a gist of where the schools were. But, you know, you see entrances like this and like this, where roads used to exist at one point, or streets into the neighborhood. It's just fascinating. I don't know. And people got really sick, and I'm sure it's still going on generations later. And that's, I mean, you know, it just is bad. It's really bad. So I'm gonna head back to Buffalo. But yeah, only a mile of this canal was ever originally built, and it was in here. It was in here. You know, I think this high spot here is part of the burial of the canal. I think that's where it was. But you just have these street entrances that go nowhere. And it's the same way down in Centralia, PA, where the coal mines burn the town down. You know, back in the mid-70s, I was 8, 10 years old. This happened when I was growing up. You know, it could have been me playing out here in these puddles of carcinogens and, you know, toxic waste.